If you wave and you waffle, you stand for nothing. Why should anybody in America trust you?
Yeah.
Right now, there's a low trust value of the citizens of the electorate. And that is going to be a daunting task to recapture.
Welcome to Cumberland Unfiltered. My name is Gary, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Jason. And our guest tonight was born in Providence in 1960, now lives in Warwick, and he's the father of four with 4 stepchildren and 13 grandchildren. He served in the United States Army for 11 years, maintaining the Pershing nuclear missile system in West Germany. He was employed by the city of Warwick for 26 years as a network and telecommunications manager. Known as a political activist, having participated in many Rhode Island campaigns, he ran to become a Rhode Island senator in 1998. Please welcome to the table the next United States Senator from the state of Rhode Island, Raymond "Ray" McKay. Hey, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This is pretty good, too. I like this. I can't wait to find out about the Pershing thing, but I don't want to start there. That, to me, sounds like that might have been some kind of like a thing. But so usually we start off, I mean, I know that you've been in this game for quite a while, working for other people, and your time came. What put you over the top to say, because you're going for like the big Megillah here. You're not going for like, like a House seat or something, a Rhode Island House seat.
So I'm a constitutional conservative, and I'm an 11-year Army veteran, and I have concerns with where Washington is today. We've got a bunch of good people up here trying to work the ground roots. We don't have anything going on in Washington. And you take a look at the Northeast, our representation out in the Northeast is nil. We've got a young lady up in Maine, Sue Collins, and she's in the battle of her life. We may lose her. If we lose her, that means we have 0. So I'm stepping up to the plate. This is generational too. It's not just for me, but for my kids and more so my grandkids. It really is. I want them to have what I grew up with, and we're not there right now. We as a nation have lost our way, and that needs to be recaptured. And we need to get back to the days where you and I can agree and disagree and just go tooth and nail on the floor, and at the end of the day, go out and have a beer together. Yeah. We don't do that anymore. We as a nation are so splintered, it's horrible. Back in the days when you had Tibby O'Neill and Ronnie Reagan, the two of them.
They got together, though.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they could have a beer. And life was good.
We do that.
We need to get
local level. Only because if I didn't have a beer with the opposition, I would never have a beer.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we I'm on the school committee in Cumberland. We like you said, we fight tooth and nail on the floor, and we fight for our positions, and then at the end we always go out into a restaurant and we'll have a couple of drinks, we'll talk. All of our spouses, girlfriends, they all get along, and they're good people. They just believe a different thing. But like you said, at the national level, for some reason, they vilify each other to the point where they can't, go out and get along, because you can't say those kinds of things about people and then have them see you at a restaurant and say, hey, sit down, let's talk.
Right. You really can't. And unfortunately, it's pushing down to the local level now. And we see that going on way too much, way too much. You're taking away from what America used to be. And running into something else. And that something else is a socialist nation, a communist nation. And it doesn't work. It will fail. It has failed in the past. You're not going to bring it to the United States and make it better. It fails. It continues to fail. It is not a good model for anything else. We've got the best model. We're not a perfect nation. No, we're not perfect. And I'm not a perfect candidate. There's going to be something about me that's not good. I can't think of it right now.
I have a list too.
There's going to be he's got a list. That's good. But seriously, we've got to get back to the basics. We've got to take care of our children. We've got to take care of our families. People complain about how poor they are, the electricity, the expenses that are out there. A lot of this is done by the top politicians who think they have a better idea. Get out of industry's way. Get out of industry's way. Let's start with our offshore wind. If offshore wind was such a good idea, why did the United States of America need to invest $1 trillion of taxpayer money into that with subsidies? If it's that good, where was corporate America? because they're gonna if it's a good business deal, they're gonna come in hand over fist because they want to make the profits. If the profits aren't there, then Uncle Sugar needs to stay away.
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, and I grew up a long time ago too. You know, Jason makes fun of how old I am, but that's okay. But I mean, I remember
So he doesn't remember the next day.
you know.
So
And I have a clicker, and when these guys come on, the vitriol comes on, I hit the pause. I can't stand listening to them. I have to mute it out because I mean they're just trying to make me mad when I see some of these clips, and I just don't understand why we're there. Where it's like either you're here or you're there, and there's really no in between. You know, very little bits, and you're going to be running into that when you get down there.
Already have been. Just starting up now. We, as I mentioned before we started the show, sent out some texts for fundraisers. And people who don't know me, never met me, never had a conversation with me, respond to the text about I'm a fascist, MAGA this and everything else. And I'm like, you've never said hello to me.
Right.
Never said hello to me. And then we'll go down, let's take a look about MAGA. So I was MAGA before MAGA was a thing. And you're going to say, well, how do you mean you were MAGA before MAGA was a thing? I was an 11-year Army veteran. I believed in America. I defended America. And what's wrong with making America great again? Yes, a lot of people have tied it to one individual, hashtag 47, and our president is what it is. It's a name he came up with, but what's bad about it? Please explain to me what's bad about it. And I dare the other side of the aisle to tell me what's bad about it and not use the Trump word.
Right.
Leave Trump out of it. Leave him out of the conversation and tell me what's wrong with America being great.
I feel the same way. Good.
well, when I joined the Army in '92, and then in '93 I went to Korea. And I had to get an absentee ballot, and I might have told this story in the show. And my commander was like, "Oh, yeah." Back then they had to verify everything. You had to do your ballot in front of your commanding officer. Then he had to sign off on it. That's how strict it was. And that when I voted in the Democratic primary, he was like, "You're a Democrat?" I was like, "Well, yeah, my father's a Democratic town councilman in the town I live in. Yeah, we're all Democrats, you know." And he was like, "Well, don't you know the Democrats don't support the military?" And I'm like, I just gotten in the Army, and I'm like, "No, I didn't know that." And anyway, I voted Democrat, and I learned pretty quick Democrats don't support the military because I got riffed, reduction in force. But click and cut the Army. I got riffed out. I ended up going back in, but I got removed. I wasn't able to re-enlist. But I had no problem with a lot of the other things. You know, I had no problem that was don't ask, don't tell. That was instituted when I joined the military. I had no problem with that. A lot of people hated it. They were like, "It'll never work. The Army will be destroyed." I didn't see any difference in it. Forget where I was going with this. It was going to be awesome though.
He'll come back up to it again, but
Yeah. So
Democrats are bad.
There's the hardest thing now because everybody's going to go back. Well, Jack Reed, he's a West Point graduate.
yeah, that was what I was always told. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. So he's military, he's Army, and I'm Army. Well, which means we both play in the mud and we enjoy it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a good time this year. But when you're a West Point graduate, last October, you don't go and vote because your party says so. You have to be man. You have to man up. You don't vote against paying the active duty military. And he did that last October.
Yeah.
That's unconscionable. At some point, you're going to be a Fetterman.
Yeah,
Jack Reed,
have a major
Jack Reed
fireman.
needs to be a Fetterman, and he's not.
It's
So therefore,
We'll have to
he's not. So 42% of Rhode Islanders voted for Trump.
that's
Jack Reed represents none of those 42%.
Right.
He's all about the party narrative. And I think we're going to see a bigger change. Rhode Island's purple. I think we're going to see that as it continues going on.
Sir.
The people are tired.
Yeah. I had a discussion a couple of days ago about just the city to the north of Cumberland, Woonsocket. They went red. They voted, maybe in the lower races they were blue, but they went red for Trump. They voted for Trump
3 times in a row.
Yeah. So that is amazing.
Yeah.
But I remember what I was going to say. The point I was going to make was you were saying that, explain to me why MAGA is bad. And one of the things about MAGA is like national security, secure the borders.
That's right.
I was in the Army. I deployed 4 times. 3 of those 4 times was on the border between 2 other countries that weren't the United States, keeping the people that country wanted out, Kosovo, and all the smugglers coming over the borders of Kosovo. I was in Korea, between North and South Korea. Then I was between Iraq and Kuwait, on the borders, patrolling borders. But if you say I support that for our country, they vilify you. You know what I mean? So I am a complete, pro support the Army, pro national borders, pro national identity. But on the other side, socially, I lean the other way. So it's like, but if you can't have it both ways anymore. You used to be able to have it both ways. Used to be like, you remember the Republicans of old in Rhode Island, Lincoln Chafee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Lincoln Chafee.
Or,
I mean, well, now
Cherry was in here when I moved in.
yeah, but even Cherry wasn't like a really right leaning guy. He was, he was a Republican. Probably.
Was it Almond?
So
Lincoln Almond.
Almond was before. So Don was a right to life candidate. Yeah, he was a right to life governor. So he pretty much he didn't have to wear on his sleeves.
Yeah.
But it is who he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and that's where we as a people have to be today. Be who you are. Man up. And have a spine. It is, at the end of the day, don't waffle over a place. If you agree with me, fine. If you disagree with me, that's fine. We can have that conversation.
Yeah.
But don't hip and haw. Oh, well, it may be. Oh, well, maybe. With the weather, which way the wind blowing. Yeah, stop it. Stop it. The American people are tired. They want help. They want guidance. They want a government that works. They're tired of the BS.
Yeah.
Well, when we first started talking off, I mean, Reed's been in as a politician in Washington since 1991 when he was a rep. And if you figure out the number of years between then and now, he's been there a long darn time. He's even older than I am. So, but the point is that, I mean, I'm against the people that stay in there for a life's work.
Right.
I worked 39 years. I worked in a bunch of different places, and I grew as I did that. These people stagnate in those jobs, and then they figure out ways to get what they want by horse trading. And that's the part that, I mean, is the horse trading good? I don't know. Maybe is it all bad? I don't know, but I'm not there. But whoops, something fell over. We're all set. But what I'm just trying to say is that, people like, I mean, I know Nancy Pelosi's not a senator, but there are, was it Chuck Grassley, and there's another guy that are senators that have all been in there. Who was the guy? Mitch McConnell, right? He's been in there forever and ever. He would stand in front of the microphone, he'd freeze.
Yeah.
I mean, he had no way to get out.
Right.
I mean, isn't there a time to get out?
There is. And so I've already signed the term limits agreement, and I fully agree with term limits. For the United States Senate, 2 terms and you're done. Lower House of Congress, 4 terms and you're done. It was good enough. It was good enough for us to say in the 1950s that the president gets 2 terms and you're done. Yeah. And interesting how they left the rest of Congress alone.
Yeah.
Well, let's do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, because they'd have to vote themselves to those new standards, right?
That's right.
I mean, and they got the gravy train going.
As soon as I get down there, that'll be one of the bills I'll propose that we get going. Get it back for a constitutional amendment. Has to happen. Yeah, we've got to put the brakes on. You see a lot of cities and towns, Providence, Cranston, Warwick. They're all now putting term limits in.
Are they really?
Cumberland. Oh, there you go.
Yep, 2 terms, 2 4-year terms, and that's it. You can go like like I said, I'm on school committee. If I did 2 terms in the school committee, I could go to the town council. Do 2 terms. If I do 2 terms in the council, I can come back to the. You know what I mean? You can spend your career in in Cumberland politics. You just can't do 2 terms as a consecutive. Consecutive. So it's interesting. This next election, out of the 15, if you count the school committee, the town council, and the mayor, out of those 15 people, I think 11 of them are term limited now. So it's going to be a huge election, and that's what we need to see nationally. Yeah, because the direction that the people in the country are thinking changes. The problem is that incumbency is such a powerful tool to stay in.
It really is.
And if you had to leave after 2 terms and now you have 2 new candidates, now the people have to actually go on, the internet or pay attention, and they have to learn what they stand for.
Yeah.
You know, and then they pick the better one that more aligns with their values. Right now, the incumbent, they go and they hit the, you know, they check that box and they walk out.
Yeah, a lot of people, and this is true throughout Rhode Island. My guy's a good guy. I know him. He has a barbecue. He's the coach. He's this. He's that.
Yeah.
And those are all wonderful things. How does he vote when he gets up to Smith Hill?
Yeah.
If he votes terrible, he's a good guy. And when your back's turned, he's not so good. And so you need to pay attention to when your back's turned. And Rhode Islanders are waking up to that. $14 billion budget.
Yeah.
Increased over, if I'm quite sure Aaron spoke about when he was on here. It's horrendous. And these guys, they come in, they schmooze. I was talking with a gentleman today. I'm doing some fundraising. And Mr. Reed had gone to his business. I said, I don't doubt that. He's looking for a re-election time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every 4 or 5 years, they come out of the woodwork. It's time to pay attention to the people. And so that people are going to be, it's really tough because everybody's trying to raise their families, earn a living, and be productive part of society. And when they vote, they think they're voting for somebody who has their best interest. More times than not, it's special interest. It's not best interest. And at the end of the day, then you become disenfranchised with politics. And people are like, oh, I'm done. I don't want to get involved. And then when someone like me comes up, and I've worked it for 20 years, and I've listened to these people, and it's hard to listen to the people complain about it and say, well, you got to get involved. And they're like, you've beat the horse. I'm done. And I'm like, it can't be done. Because as soon as you're done, they're going to take advantage of it, and they're going to run with it. And you're going to be left holding nothing.
Wasn't it? I know you're a strict constitutionalist because I saw that in the write-up here. But wasn't it? And correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't the Constitution not want people to be career politicians? Weren't we all supposed to go in there for a short period of time and then get out, make room for the next guy?
The founders and the Federalist Papers, they spoke to that. That is not, or we wouldn't be there today. It's not in stone. It's not engraved in stone anywhere in the Constitution that short.
No, but I mean, they recommended that they get new
It
blood,
was.
right?
Because
Because of what you just said about them getting ingrained in bad habits and
Yes.
saying this to here and then doing that over here was because, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if they guys stay in there and they think that they're bulletproof, guess what? In a nice
And
way.
our founding fathers came over from that world, and they wanted to get away from it.
Right.
Now, passing the intelligence, the education, the knowledge down to the next generation seems to have stopped. And it needs to be reinvigorated again. We need to re-educate the people. That's why Washington, when he became president, they actually offered him kingship of the United States of America. And he said no. He said no. Because he knew what we were building, what they were building at the time. And it's up to us to continue what they founded. I mean, we're coming up to 250 years of the greatest experiment the world has ever seen.
It is.
And it has worked, and right now it is being attacked externally and internally. And that's another reason what drives me is that I believe this nation, I love this nation. We have a lot to offer. We've made a lot of people, very wealthy individuals, very successful individuals who came from nothing. Take a look at Dr. Carson. He came, Ben Carson. Talk about coming from poverty, abstract poverty. Mom and him, they leave Tennessee, they go up to find Dad. Find out Dad's got another family.
Oh, gosh.
And then they move on to the East Coast. And Mom doesn't have much of an education, works her tail off to make sure her two boys, go through school. And now Dr. Ben Carson ran for president. He is. He is.
Yeah.
One of the world renowned. He's been traveling the world with what he does.
Happy.
Because it was America.
Yep.
He born, and a lot of people, born a poor black child and accomplished as much as he did. And there are many, many throughout America, black, white, Hispanic, that have come in, Chinese, don't care what your background is. You come in, you work hard, you can accomplish it here in America.
Yeah. I looked at forget what country it was. I looked at, because there's that Reagan clip where Reagan says,
Oh,
you can't go to France and become a Frenchman.
That's right.
Go to Germany and become German. You can't, but anybody in the world can come to the United States and you can be an American,
That's right.
So I was looking at some of the restrictions. I don't remember, it was a country in Europe, and you had to have like 4 times the average annual income of anybody to even be able to put an application in to become a citizen of that country. And then you had to be a property owner, and there was just so many restrictions, and that wasn't even the most restrictive. In Ireland too, my cousin and I were thinking about doing business with an Irish company. When we looked into, we went and visited and hung out there. We looked into what do you need to be to, move over there and become an Irish citizen. And it was you had to go through a lot of hoops. Yeah, I'm sorry, I derailed the.
No. That's just the idea is that I think that this country has a lot of people that I'm having problem with the denominator being the word American, because we have so many numerators at the top where we're this kind of American or that kind of American. I just wish everybody that wanted to be American just say I'm an American. Okay, I don't want to delineate myself or use a different particular term where my people came from or any of that kind of thing. And I think we're running out of Americans. I need to see some more Americans running around.
Yeah, you're right. We just need the basic Americans. What is an American? I'm a guy who comes here or a lady who comes here. We believe in our family. We believe in our country. Believe God, and we want to succeed in life. We want to be part of. I don't want to live off the government. If the government is there as a safety net, that's fine. A safety net is good. Every once in a while, someone needs a hand up. They don't need a hand out. Okay? We need to get away and break the cycle where it is better to stay at home and live off the government than it is to go to work. And that must be broken. And that's where Congress comes in, and that's where going to Washington comes in to fix the giveaways. People want the other party, and we say the other party wants you to be, from cradle to grave, responsible on the government. And we can't do that.
I think that's part of the problem. I mean, as far as there are people that work and there are people that aren't interested in working, and that the second number is getting bigger. There was a statistic in the Projo that 40% of Rhode Island carries the 100% of the people.
Yeah,
but that's probably the same thing in other places,
and
right?
Nationally, those figures are trending.
Yeah,
where you've got approximately 47% paying 70% of the federal taxes.
I personally, that's not how I was brought up, as far as that part goes. When I started getting Social Security check, I was embarrassed because I had, I'm getting something from the government. I never got 10 cents from them for anything.
So, and here's the biggest thing. So Social Security, and that's something we're all going to be talking about it as life goes forward. You actually paid into it. So you pay into it and you get something back. So,
but you paid into the bank.
You did pay into the bank account. Real quick question: who was the first person to talk about privatizing Social Security?
Gosh, was it FDR? No, he's the guy that started Social Security.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't know.
The first gentleman to suggest privatizing it was Ronald Reagan. And in what year?
It would have been 80-something or other, right?
No,
which
1964.
When he was in California still?
Yep. Yeah, so it was right after, it was during the Barry Goldwater speech.
Okay. Did he get up and give a speech and then he mentioned that as one of the things? Okay.
Yeah, he did.
So
talk about a gentleman who was ahead of his time. He saw the issues where we were going. Fast forward to Ronald Reagan, bring in Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan, genius, takes care of the financials, makes everybody pay into Social Security to balance it, and takes a look at the greatest generation and takes a look at the demand that's going to be coming in the future and tried to build enough money into that. Well, that's all well and good. Unfortunately, when he left, they didn't keep up his mindset. So since 2009, the Social Security Fund has been running a deficit.
Yeah.
So for the past 16 years, we've been running deficits. We haven't increased the payroll contribution since 1990.
Is that right? Since
1990.
As a percentage?
Yes, that is a percentage where you pay in and the employer matches
it up.
And has not increased since 1990. I believe everything else in the world has increased since 1990.
You think?
And the biggest thing is, so you know what the politicians are worried about? Oh, it's a tax. I'm taxing you. No, I'm taking money out of you and putting it into your savings account.
Right.
Yeah, well, if there was a savings account, we've kind of gone in there and stolen a lot of money out of it.
Do you think
put it
Social
back.
Security is something that people should rely on in the future? I mean,
No. Well, so Social Security, the way it's set, and this will be a generational change for America. Okay, Social Security was sold as that's what you're going to need when you retire. That has never been the case. Should never have been sold the case. Our politicians have failed us. Our educators have failed us. The money managers of America have failed us to educate everyday people. Set a little aside. I know a lot of people say, I'm barely making ends meet right now, but put $5 away a week and start building that nest. Then it becomes a habit forming. Social Security is part of the solution. It's not the entire solution. If I had to worry about Social Security today, I'd be in a world of hurt.
yeah, I mean,
I would have to change the lifestyle that I live.
I know Trump is doing those Trump accounts, and I know it's not exactly, he's getting a lot of people volunteering money, and he's starting it for kids. But if you're going to take money, and I know not everyone's, smart enough investment-wise to be able to invest their own money, and some people wouldn't do it anyway.
Right.
But when I have a TSP, which is like a 401k for federal employees, and I should be more involved in it, but I just check the box, invest it for me, relatively conservatively, and it does okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if I did it myself and I did the research, it could do a lot better. But with so many different options available, at some point, when we see Social Security is going to fail, we should look at maybe transitioning this into something else. That.
Well, the hardest thing is it can't fail. Because if it fails, we have too many millions of Americans, seniors, and everything else. So it definitely cannot fail. And we won't let it fail.
Yeah.
We have to be smart going forward. It has to be fixed. It's broken. My opponent has ignored it for 16 years. And when I say he's ignored it for 16 years, longer than that, the problem, deficit running is 16 years old. Okay? You've been in the United States Senate for 3 decades.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's your reforms? And don't tell me it's been a tax increase. We don't want to do taxes. They crucified George Bush, the father. I'm not going to raise taxes. I really have to raise
High lips.
Yeah. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you want something, there's nothing free in life.
Right.
Education is not free. There's not a bunch of professors going to school to teaching you for free. The money's coming from somewhere. $14 billion Rhode Island budget is paying the professors to teach those college students for free who are coming in for free. Nothing is free. So there's a money so we've got to manage our money wisely.
Yeah.
And Congress obviously doesn't do that. We run budget deficits.
That's right. What I was just going to say.
We rely nobody forecasts, so if I take a school example, Cumberland's fortunate. We have a growing student population. So we built the buildings, we rehabbed the buildings, we have the teachers that we hired. We have a budget based on the fact that we have students coming in and the tax dollars are supposed to come to the schools. People get taxed for the schools. Other towns around us, over the last 5 or 6 years, they've decreased, some of them 20% of their student population.
One of them.
So now you have 20% of the teachers, you have 20% of the building space that's not being used. So and they didn't forecast that, and they didn't alter their spending or their budgets to be able to cope with that. So now Warwick is in big trouble with their budget deficit.
For the schools, right? They're way in a hole, aren't they?
Yeah, and a lot of that was bad management during COVID and slightly after COVID, but a lot of it is a decline of
previous administration down there too, wasn't it?
But nationally, we're not seeing the 4 and 5 child families, so now we have less people paying in, more people collecting, and I don't think that's going to go away. If you look at countries like Spain and Japan, they are in a big deficit. They actually have a shrinking population, so they don't have enough people to be able to take care. So when you retire, you want to go have a coffee, you don't have enough employees at the coffee shop to be able to manage and run the coffee shop because you have too many people wanting the coffee and not enough people that are available in the job pool. But yeah, so I mean that's
so there will be some challenges with that. Does AI solve any of those issues?
Yeah.
Does it cause more problems? Will it cause unemployment? That's something that'll be, it's going to be painful at the initial start, because a lot of people run to AI, and because this is the greatest thing in the world. It's the newest toy, and we got to have it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, some of the AI is useful. It makes a hack like me look pretty good when I come up and I try and produce a flyer.
You explain to the computer.
I tell the fun now, AI is programmed by humans. So there's a human behind it.
Yep.
So the base code is there, and then it starts learning. But it doesn't always real-time catch up to speed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back to the death of Charlie Kirk. So I came up with a poster for his death. And I told AI, this is what I want to see, and everything else, the American flag, picture of Charlie. And I said, okay, and I want his birth date to his death date. And AI came back and gave me the year he was born and gave me the year thought he was going to die. So I came back and said,
What's the hell?
Charlie's dead.
Yeah.
AI comes back, I'm sorry to hear that. And then gives me a repeat address in the future.
Yeah.
I'm like, he died 3 days ago.
Yeah.
How are you not up to speed on that? So
Yeah.
very interesting with AI. It doesn't always get it right. And again, the programmers behind, and we'll go back to initially the humans behind it. When Google first came out, they were heavy into DEI, and DEI figured into the programmers. And when you get a black George Washington or a brown George, I'm not quite sure he was black, but he wasn't a white George Washington. And okay, and I understand DEI, you want to be inclusive and everything else. You can't change history. We as a nation cannot rewrite history. We should never rewrite history. There's so much to learn from history. What we did wrong and what we learned. Again, we're not a perfect nation. So, and how do you get better? You have to learn from your mistakes. So if you erase history, well, I don't have anything to look back to. So, or rewrite it where it's more comfortable or soothed. No, history is sometimes ugly, dirty, and messy.
It is.
Let it be what it is. And
Don't make
you know what?
mistake.
Grow up, suck it up, and just embrace what it is.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of the AI, I had a friend of mine who's running for office in Rhode Island. Cumberland is northeastern part of the state, and he did his sign because he was having an announcement party and he needed a sign. He did his sign with AI, and he got the sign perfect, exactly how he wanted it. He said, "Oh wait, but I just want to flip 2 words. I want to put one word in front of the other." So he just told AI, "Hey, flip these 2 words." AI spit it out, flipped the 2 words. He goes, "That's great." Didn't think he needed to check anything else on the sign because
They changed more things.
he sent it to the printer, and they replaced the face because he had a face on it. They replaced the face with a different person's face, but same thing. Like
He signed off on the proof.
yeah, similar enough that he didn't even look at it. And then when they sent him the proof back, he looked at it. He like, "That's not even me." They're like, "That's what you sent us." He's like, "What?" He looked back at it, and AI, even though he didn't tell AI to do anything with the image, AI changed the face to somebody else's face.
It's going to be a challenge going forward. But that's one of the things. And you have to be cognizant of it. And coming from 30 years of the IT industry, that's what I bring to Washington as well. Is that paying attention. So I ran the city's City of Works network for 26 years, and we had most of our attacks came out of Chicago. Those that wanted to breach and come into the city, and I found that very interesting. Where they're coming from today, who knows? But that was back in the day when I was there.
Yeah.
I've been gone for a couple of days now.
That stuff changes like
It really does.
exponentially, right? So
Yeah. And with AI introduced into it, you've got firewalls introducing AI because you've got attackers introducing AI.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's machine fighting machine.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was the big
do
thing.
we have to worry about Terminator? I hope not, but we'll have to watch.
that was
Not to,
way ahead of its time. If you look at a lot of that stuff in the good old Arnold movie, I'm telling you.
not to date myself, but I remember when Y2K was going to happen, they said it was going to be Armageddon because the computers weren't going to know how to switch from 1999 to 2000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they were like, "Oh, it's gonna be crazy."
Full-wall programmers earned a lot of money back in the
Yeah,
days.
and then everyone was like, "Oh, you guys are," everyone was so worried about that. Nothing really happened. We fixed all the problems, But then people would get criticized, like the Rhode Island DMV got criticized for being archaic with their system, you know, and having to go in there and not being able to do a lot of stuff and not using an efficient computer system. So they update their system, and all of a sudden everyone around the country is getting held ransom by hackers. Like they shut down like a septic company somewhere, I think in New York, and they were like, oh, $2 million to So, you know, there's arguments on both sides, but you know, you have to be better at stopping it than they are at attacking it before you can implement it. You know,
And you're right. That's what you try and do. There's tons of security firms out there, and government needs to reinvest because we need to be better for the people.
Yeah.
So the people expect more of the government. They expect their government to be efficient. You take a look at those. You take a look at the fraud that we're finding in Minnesota,
Oh my gosh.
in California, in New York, in our friends in Connecticut, billions in Connecticut. Fraud throughout the nation. They're taking money away from us. We're what are we at? $40 trillion.
I think it's
Real close to 40 trillion. A lot of that is fraud money that people know stole and taken away. So what does that do? How does that affect us in this room today? Well, the federal government's budget is about $4 trillion. Right now, we are paying in interest only, no principal, interest only, $1 trillion. 25% of our budget is interest only. And the principal is being sitting over here, fat, dumb, and happy, growing, and we're not touching it. And we need to fix it.
That you got to.
At some point, the United States of America will run out of credit. I don't know what that point is going to be, but at some point it's going to happen.
We all know that in our own personal lives, you can't get away with that. So how come it's okay to do up there? I just don't understand it. Because that's a rather new phenomenon, isn't it? Was it Nixon that started with deficits?
No, we've been deficit spending for quite a while. Back to in the 60s, we were deficit spending. Nowhere near where we're deficit
But then
today.
Bush and
It's all,
Obama went like that, right?
They really did. Reagan added a good chunk of change to the deficit back. Nowhere near where we're at right now, but in time capsule wise, he spent an awful lot of money to break the Soviet Union. So we invested in heavily, deficit spent, and at the end of the day, it won. Was it a good spend of money? Historians will tell you yes and no. People like Reaganomics, trickle down and so on. His deficit spending to build the military, invest in the military.
Well,
I was on active duty when we got the brand new Pershing II missile. So instead of hitting 400 miles, it could hit 1,400 miles. So I'm like, okay.
I'll tell you, there's probably a lot of people over in Europe that were under the thumb of the Soviet Union, vassals, and that would say that was worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
a lot of people throughout the world, again, make America great again. A lot of people around the world have benefited because of our benevolence, because we are a good nation, because we're a sound nation, because we're a nation of family, of God, and we pay attention to that. And that's not something we should walk away from. The world has benefited from us being who we are. There is no other country that has been able to deploy resources, whether it's financial, military, human beings who care about providing support for others, that the United States have provided. And that's something our Congress is walking away from. The nation as a whole, as a people, are walking away from. When you've got college kids coming out saying how bad America is, there's a problem. They're again rewriting history or forgetting history or just not learning it.
Right. So is this a good time to learn more about the Pershing missile? I wanted to learn about that since the beginning. So
the Pershing missile was around for a long time. I am not a historian. I can give you my brief time.
He a World War I General Pershing?
He was.
Okay.
General Pershing was.
Yep.
And the missile system that was whoever decided. It was initially it went from P1 to P1A to P2. P1 was a liquid propellant rocket. P1A was solid propellant.
Oh, wow.
And then P2 was another solid propellant, but a much better and longer ranging system.
Right.
And very interesting because the launcher really didn't change much as far as length and so on, but the components and everything else inside did. And you could do more. There were more souls you could send to heaven with P2 than P1A.
But where you were in Germany had a certain number of silos or something or other. Am I incorrect in assuming that?
There were no silos. Pershing was a mobile system.
So it was on like a launcher,
Yeah.
like a big
Yeah.
truck or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
Did you
Tractor
get-
trailer.
Would you move them around?
Yes.
So that they never were in the same place for any length of time?
So,
or...
no, actually, so the Pershing system had 3 bases. I was in Heilbronn, then we were down in New Ulm, and then we had Waldheim. It was Waldheim? The third one where the headquarters was. I never went there. Schwäbisch Gmünd. And so those were 3 we had 3 full-time locations and 3, 6. I think we had 9 missiles. And I had ready 3 pads, something like that. Days gone by, everybody knew what was going on. And those were solid. The rest of us, that was 1 battery. The rest of us, the other 3 batteries per location, would travel around the ruins with our own missiles and our own nuclear warheads. Well, the nuclear warheads never went out. The German countryside was never littered with nuclear warheads. I'll say that right here in case everyone's like, what? No, we're not going to cause any international incidences.
Still today.
So going on down, taking the tractors, the erector launchers through some of the smaller towns in Germany. Germany believes in small cars because they have very small streets and their buildings are really close to the streets. The sidewalks might be 36 inches, maybe. And then when you're taking that turn, I have happened to see pictures of where nobody tipped over. They may have driven into the side of the building and kind of sat in somebody's den. But besides that, it was tough. It was an interesting time. I think the best time being in Germany, West Germany, was when Checkpoint Charlie came down.
Oh yeah.
That was fabulous.
89? Is that what you're talking about?
I think, yeah, pretty much.
When the wall
The wall came down, Checkpoint Charlie came down, and all the East Germans came over in what they call Trabants. And the Trabis, that we called them back in the day, they burned more oil than gas. It was horrendous.
Is it a motor vehicle of sorts?
Oh yeah, it was a car. It was their car.
But
It was their car.
Was it made
It was
by
Trabant,
Yeah.
And you had the Beamers, and then you had the Trabis. And the Trabis go but, and the Beamer go boom, but. Yeah. So their technology, because it was under the Soviet Union, didn't keep up. There was no market driven. And that's what America needs, and that's what the American citizens need. They don't remember that. They weren't taught that. You had a communist regime where we're pushing today with Providence and with New York and everything else. Trabis, West Germany, East Germany, Soviet Union, they didn't have the Beamers. Intellect was there. Humans have the capability. The government didn't allow it. So are we going to go back to those days? Why would we embrace those days of failure when in West Germany you've got a beautiful BMW, a beautiful Mercedes, and in East Germany they put Trabants, which were just people's cars. Even the Volkswagens in West Germany were better than Trabants in East.
Is that right?
Yes. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was capitalism. They were competing. They wanted profits. They wanted people. People demanded more. And it was a free society. And we need to stay the course.
A lot of good engineers in Germany back in the day, right?
Yeah.
You know, right?
They were
known
still
for,
there,
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. And they are still.
Yeah.
They still have that breed over there.
So how long did you stay in Germany, West Germany? When
I lived in West Germany for 6 years.
you lived there for 6 years?
Lived on the economy on the economy means out of billets. I lived on economy about 3 years. So half my time was on the economy and half the time was in billets.
Does that mean you were in
I had
military living?
No. I had a house trial. House. The lady in charge of the house.
Yeah, like a house mother kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. She came up. The landlady in American speak. So landlady, landlord. The Karl-Heinz and Slavica. Slavica was from Yugoslavia. Karl-Heinz was from South Africa, and they were my landlord and landlady. They had a daughter by the name of Claudia, and we had a great time. It was me, my wife at the time, and my daughter that lived upstairs. And after we left, Carl said, we'll never do that again because his daughter and his wife took a liking too much to my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
So my daughter was, she was a little baby at the time.
Okay.
And then they left. We left a hole in the family because we would go downstairs. Karl Heinz and I would play chess. The women would do what women do, talk about anything.
Yep.
And we would be drinking on wine, playing chess, and life would be good. And then we got to meet Opa, which was the grandfather. And they had,
That's a good name.
and that was like,
Yep.
in Germany.
So they accepted you because they were happy that you were there because of what America had done in World War II, or as a defender.
We never had those
They weren't
soft
there though. I mean,
conversations.
okay.
We were a force to be reckoned with. The military was there. We needed housing. And these people pre-qualified through the military to rent to GIs. So it's not like we were going to the Green Party or something like that. And are we going to go somebody and we're going to wake up dead the next morning? So they pre-qualified, however that was. And once you move into them, the conversations just like we would have today.
So I joined the Army to go to Germany. That's why I wanted to.
Is that right? That was your plan originally?
Yeah, but I didn't have anybody help me through the recruiter, so I joined. I wanted to be 11 Bravo, and I wanted to go to Germany.
Yeah.
And and I talked to my recruiter. He said, "Oh yeah, yep, 11 Bravo, and we'll send you to Germany." So when I got to MEPS, they asked me if do you want to volunteer for overseas duty? I said absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to MEPS overseas duty, got shipped out to Fort Benning, went through the line. And they were reading names off for people going, stateside, you got one vaccination line. Yeah. And overseas, you got the other vaccination line, which was like 3 times longer. It was back when they had the air guns, and they had one on each side.
Was that right? Oh, yeah.
You go down and, then they pneumatic air, they push the vaccine into your skin. And there was like 6 on each side for the overseas, and there was 6 for the staying stateside. They're like, oh, shit. So at the end, I get out, I go through all my training, and at the end, I'm reading your MOS and your assignments. MOS is military occupational specialty, and there were a lot of different kinds of infantry. And they read, all right, Dean, 11 Mike. I said, 11 Mike? So what's that? And they said, mechanized infantry. I said, wait a minute. And I said, I want to be 11 Bravo. They said, no, you didn't join. You joined as 11 X-ray. I was like, bro, but I was supposed to be late. And they were like, nope, the 11 X-ray means we give you whatever you want. I'm like, in my head, I'm like,
Whatever we want, yes.
in my head, I'm like, oh, well, at least I'm going to Germany. And then the next thing was, Dean, first duty station, Korea.
Oh my
I
gosh.
said, Korea? I said, we have people in Korea? They're like, yeah, there's like 26,000 soldiers in Korea. I'm like, there are people in Korea. They're like, yeah, and you're going there. I'm like, no, I signed up for Germany. They said, no, you signed up for overseas. I was like, oh, shit. So yeah, instead of being 11 Bravo in Germany, I was 11 Mike in Korea. I eventually got light infantry, and then I became an officer and all the, moved on to other things. And I made it to Germany. I got medevaced out of Kosovo, and I.
Oh, there you go.
That's
the way I want to go to Germany.
Yeah.
So I said, in Germany. Yeah, I spent 2 weeks in the hospital bed in Landstuhl, but I went out drinking every night. And then the next day I had doctor's appointments. I'd come in and,
You were hungry. No.
yeah, and the doctor was like, you're not supposed to be off post, right? And I'm like, oh, I'll go wherever I want. So then I
One of those GIs.
I had to make the most of the opportunity.
There you go.
So by the time I joined in 90, like I said, 92, 93, and I went to Korea in 93. By the time, I wanted to go to Germany in 93. By the time I got to Germany, it was 2003. So it'd been 10 years. I was like, I'm making the best of this. So K-Town, Kaiserslautern.
Oh, there you go.
Drunk all over K-Town.
You guys have more like mnemonic devices or whatever you want to call it. You put 3 letters together and try to, in acronyms, and you know what they are. And if like when your boys were all here, you have all these words in them. For a guy like
we had a veteran.
These guys were just they seemed to be having a good time, but all these words came out. When I would have that, they all knew what the language was. I didn't know any of it. But
yeah, he would know. He'd know.
Yeah, I know. I get it. So,
but yeah, we had a veteran show where we had all the guys I deployed with there, and some guys I just know that didn't deploy that could make it here, and we just had a couple of beers and shot it, and had a good time. But yeah, so my son's joining. He wants to.
is he gonna do Navy?
Yeah, he wants to. Sorry, he wants to join the Army, and I'm like, listen, every single time you talk to that recruiter, I'm going to be right there. There you go. You're not gonna end up mechanized infantry in Korea. You're going to end up light infantry in Vincenza.
Okay, so we were talking a little bit about, the expenses in the $40 trillion debt and the way that money is spent by Washington, D.C. And when you get elected and you go down there, would you have envisioned what you would do to talk to your fellow senators to try to get them to understand how you see that going and develop a little coalition and all that? Because I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Right. So the ability to just get down to the grassroots of what it is for the finances and talking to the people that are already down there. There are some folks in Washington now that understand we're out of control. And going down there as another voice to join with them will strengthen their hand and help the American people in the long run. Understand, when I say help the American people in the long run, the deficit will be taken care of when everybody in this room and our grandchildren are dead and buried. And
I hate to tell you.
that's the reality of life. But we have to start sometime. And we can't keep kicking the can down the road. It has to stop, and it'll stop when I get down to Washington. I'll be part of the process to help start it. And
Start it. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's the start. And people, and a lady in Wallen Lake actually came up. I said, you haven't elected me yet. I'll go down there and hold them accountable. And she gave me the snicker. And the reality is you have to have the spine, the gumption, the moral drive to make the changes needed for America. And you have to hold your counterparts to that standard.
Right.
Because if you wave, going back to our previous conversation, if you wave and you waffle, you stand for nothing. Why should anybody in America trust you?
Yeah.
Right now, there's a low trust value of the citizens of the electorate. And that is going to be a daunting task to recapture. And we spoke about an issue earlier off camera where an item came out and it was spun one way and I was told to jump on board. The reality is I need Rhode Islanders to trust me, to have faith in me, to have faith that I will have their back. So I cannot run with a narrative that is not a proven narrative. So we did our research. We found out that the narrative was incorrect. And I came out to the people who wanted me to run with the guns blazing and said, no, this is not a guns blazing issue because it's incorrect. Some of the information that was put out there was washed a certain way. In that we as a society deserve and should require of all our politicians.
That was
Here's our statesmen.
Hey, the question I was going to ask earlier was, how do you start to heal that division that we see nationally and that you talked about when you announced? And that's part of it.
Yes,
part of it is being trustworthy, and no matter if they voted for you or they voted against you or they despise you even, just the fact that they can trust that what you're saying is the truth it goes a little bit of the way to try to heal
it. It really does. And the second thing is the discussion needs to be honorable. It needs to be civil.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, that is a very good one. Civil.
Yep.
The sky's blue. It's pink. It's blue. It's pink. It's blue, you idiot. You just lost the conversation. You just lost the conversation because now you've just demeaned the individual you're talking with. And all of a sudden, their tuners are like, he just called me a name. He's just disrespected me. Honor, respect have to be brought back to America, society, to our politicians, to Washington. That must happen.
It's not going to be easy, but because I've seen that falling apart. But back in the day when I was growing up, it was like, I'd like to recognize my gentleman senator for such and such a state. And everybody, it was always so cordial to each other. And they gave everybody, even when when Nixon was being when they were getting ready to kick.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are in there and Watergate and all that stuff, and they allowed each other to speak. Nobody cut anybody off. Nobody was mean to each other. And then at some point in time, that all changed. I mean, I'd say maybe the 90s. I don't know, when the Wall Street was running and everybody was more important. It was more important how much money, greed is good stuff and all that. I don't know, but that's the thing, is that if you can, there's going to be a lot of people like you, because a lot of the Republicans down there, and probably maybe some of the Democrats, want the right outcome for our country. But there's a bunch of folks that don't. Like Chuck Schumer gets to talking, and I think I'm going to lose my tomatoes. So it's like, I can't.
And you take a look at a lot of and this is where term limits come in. Back in the day, when Schumer was younger in the Senate, he stood for one thing. Fast forward to where he is today, the narrative and his party have taken him over, and now he's opposite of where he was. And some people say, well, I'm more enlightened. I beg your pardon.
He's more enlightened.
Yeah, I am more enlightened, and that's why I've changed my position in life. And no, there's no. Enlightenment is when you find when you're younger. Common sense is when you have when you're older.
Well, we'd like to instill some more common sense. I know there's some things you use the common sense all the time, as far as, I mean, if we could just use our common sense, but a lot of people have either don't have it or they forgot what it was, so.
Or it's underrated, overvalued, underrated in some people's minds.
Yeah, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be a politician. You need to have the country's best interest in your heart, and then you go out and do what you want to do. And
you were talking about Fetterman earlier. He had a stroke. He was a smart guy, but he had a stroke, and he was having issues with the stroke. But like you said, he's come out as one of the most common sense.
He is
politicians.
He is somebody I could easily work with.
Yeah.
Because he's down to earth. He listens. He'll have his opinions, but he'll also listen to your opinions. And that's what we got to get back to. These two stone walls are just bad. They're bad for everybody. The extremes on both sides of the aisle are crazy. It has to happen. It has to stop. And unfortunately, the extremes that we see on the opposite side want to take us down to a path that is not the American path. Some people say that the extreme right folks want nothing to change. And obviously life does change. So we have to stay true to our core. We have to stay true to our belief, stay true to the Constitution and to the principles that made us who we are. At the same time, evolve where it doesn't compromise our integrity. And that's a balance. It's a balance. I don't have all the answers. I have some. I think I have some. I know I'm not happy with what's going on down there right now. And I know for my kids' sake and my grandkids' sake, it has to change.
Right.
And that's why I'm stepping up. It has to happen.
Well, we're glad that you chose to do it, because I'm telling you, I was just saying that it's something you're not going to catch me in that role, because it's just not suited for me. But I'm really proud to meet people like you who are willing to step up, because there's 12 million other things you could have chosen to do at this stage, rather than get into this game that I don't consider to be the most fair game that's out there. And you're going to do the best you can.
It really is a punitive game. It really is, if you get into it, because the attacks. And that's why there are so many good people who won't come forward. The attacks have left just me. Now they'll go after my family. If I had a spouse, after my spouse.
About that in a minute.
So it's no longer a gentleman's game. It is now a free-for-all. Nothing's off limits. Back in the day, it'd be mano a mano. You mess with somebody's family, they don't find your body. Because the family's off limits.
Oh, yeah.
The family's off limits.
Oh, yeah.
End of conversation. And we've gone down that path where the family's free game. No. I'm here representing the citizens of the state of Rhode Island. My family's doing whatever they want to do. My chosen life is to be the representative for the citizens of the state of Rhode Island. You have an issue with me, you have an issue with me. You do not have an issue with my family.
Right.
If you do, then we're going to have other issues besides the political one.
Yeah, there appears to be a lot of, I don't know, I hate to keep mental health things going on. I showed you this article
that was run in the Boston Globe back in April, and it's like people that are mad at their Congress people and their senators, and they call them up and they leave these really acerbic messages that are really like, I don't know how they get away with it, but
They're caustic. They're keyboard warriors. There's no repercussions for what they do. It is a new society. The internet and all the chats that are out there, it didn't make us better people. I think it took us a step back. I speak about morality an awful lot, and people are like, oh, morality, dude, come on, get a life. No, actually, that's the basic foundations of human society. Moral judgment is human. It's not American, it's not Republican, it's not Democrat, it's human. So the moral base of what you want, go back, do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
That's me.
That is, if we can live by that, walking down the street, you see people clocking a female,
Right.
cold cocking her from behind. Would you want that? Would you want somebody to do that to your mom? Why are you doing it? It is not acceptable. The fact that everything is the abuse that you see, the violence that you see, and everybody's got their phones on. Nobody is stopping to help the person who's being beaten the snot out of, but they're recording it with their phones. What is wrong with American society that you're allowing that to happen? And then we go back to the discussion of mental health. We have a mental health crisis in America. We really do. People have lost their minds, if you would. A lot of people have. They become keyboard warriors. Again, there is no repercussions for what they do. I can do. And I think it came down with a society of, it's okay to be you, and whatever you do, it's okay, Johnny. You need a safe space, that's okay, Johnny. Oh, Johnny you shouldn't have done that, Johnny. But back in the day, when Ray was doing that stuff, Ray got his butt whooped.
There were repercussions
Oh,
right
my
there.
God,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Well, they had
Well,
teachers in the school, every place. There was a lot of different ways.
so we went to St. Raymond's School in Providence.
St.
That
Ray?
was- Yep, St. Raymond's. And that was in Providence. And then I went to St. Raphael's School for my freshman year of high school. And we had Mr. Maccarell. What an awesome history teacher he was. Also happened to be the football coach. And he was a big dude.
Yeah.
As much as I remember. And I was a little small back in those days. And the grace, the Tom Brady grace of this gentleman from in front of the room. He pivots. I'm sitting in the front of the room. He pivots. He moves. The body moves. Like just beautiful grace. And then you turn back to where he's pointing. And you turn to the back of the room. And you see this white chalk cloud come over a child's head from where the eraser impacted.
Oh, he whipped the freaking thing. Oh, no. Did he really? He needed someone to pay attention or something or other back.
This stood as in the back.
He had a good arm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can't do that anymore. I can tell you stories about the schools now. And I mean, if somebody did that in your school, how long would they last as a teacher?
Yeah, no, they'd be
They'd be gone like a
Yeah, they'd be
minute,
gone.
right?
So
But it wasn't a bad thing when it happened. And Johnny paid attention or whatever his name was.
I have no idea who it
I'm
was.
joking, but I mean,
Back, yeah. Fifth grade, Sister Gabriel Marie. That was called. We had CCD back in the day.
Yep.
That's when the public school kids come in with the capital kids. Learn their catechism. And so me and my buddy, public school buddy, were in the back of the class, and maybe we're cutting up a little bit. And I get called up because I'm the parochial school kid, St. Raymond's. I get called up. Put your hands out. Yep. Get the whack. Turn around. And I'm just sobbing because the ruler hurt my hands. And I'm sobbing. I'm walking back. And my buddy in the back of the room smiles, makes me laugh. I start laughing as I'm walking back.
Oh, come back. I'm getting another rap. Right?
No, she just lost it. Mr. McKay, are you laughing? Are you laughing at it? Go down and see Sister Cat.
Oh, you got bounced.
I get bounced down to the principal's office.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, then that's bad because what's going to happen? You're going to go downstairs And Sister Catherine's not going to do anything to you. She's going to call home.
Uh-oh.
The parents have to go.
So when you get home, and then when you get home, you got it all over again, right? I don't think that happens either.
And it should. So parenting, you'll take a look at parenting in America. Parents have rights. Parents have rights to raise the kids. It is their children. And I am 100% about that. The government is there. The public school system, in my opinion, is there to teach my children reading, writing, and arithmetic, and how to think for themselves. I don't want my children to be taught political philosophy unless they're in college. At that point, that's different. That's a different game. But the basics for grammar school to high school, I want them to build them a foundation so they're good students, productive students in society, that they can add, they can subtract, they can read, they can speak, they can hold conversations, they can think. I don't need them to come home and say, I might be this today. I might need a cat box or any of the other crazes that we see going on in schools today. Stop it. You are there to educate, not to indoctrinate.
That was one of the reasons I ran for
That's what I was just saying. There's your opening.
Is in Cumberland, they allow your child to transition, and if you call the school and say, hey, I'm noticing that my son or daughter is acting differently at home, what's going on in school that might, have you noticed anything? Even though they know that your child is transitioning, they are prohibited from telling you. And if the teachers in our school are mandated to call your child by whatever gender they want, but when you call, they have to talk to you in the gender that they were born so that you don't know that they're transitioning. That's in Cumberland High School.
Yeah.
So, and what I said at one of the meetings, I said, wait a minute, this, the reason that you give for not telling the parents that the child is transitioning is because we have to accept the children, and you're afraid that the parents aren't going to accept the transition, and that historically transgender children are 3 times more likely to harm themselves or commit suicide. I said, but if a parent calls up and says, hey, my child's acting strangely, you're not going to tell them about this because maybe the parent can help them get help outside of school. And
that's right.
Even if and you're just going to assume that the parent doesn't accept the transitioning of the child. I have no problem if the parent sends the child to school and transitions and says, hey, can you call my child by this gender because that's what they want. And the parent knows that's your child. It has to do with you. But when the child comes and you as an educator, not really it's the administration, you say to the child, we're not going to tell your parents because we want to protect you. Now you're telling that child that your parents are somebody that you have to be protected from.
Exactly. You no longer trust your home environment.
Yeah, and so now the child is like, oh, thank you so much. I have a protector at school, and that just creates a divide between the child and the parent. Like I said, if you are a parent and you accept your child, even if you don't accept your child transitioning, but the child is transitioning and the child comes to school and they transition, I have no problem with that. Taking away
the parent has to know.
Yeah, taking away the parental rights.
They brought the child into the world. They're supporting the child. They're providing health care for the child. Oh, by the way, if they have an issue, they go seek counseling.
Yeah.
With this protective issue, nobody's getting counseling. Nobody's talking. There's no sitting down. There's the school, and then there's the parents.
And the schools
the school's your best buddy.
No, the schools that be there 8 hours a day, and they're only there 180 days a year. They're not there the rest of the time. The parent sees them every day. The parent feeds them dinner. The parent, sees them every day during summer vacation.
That's right.
So if you're going to be the protector, then why don't you do a 360-day protector? But that's not an option. So.
No. So I'm all about parental rights.
But I still haven't gotten there. That's still the policy in Cumberland.
Well, there's 2 Supreme Court cases that they haven't decided on yet, and we're waiting on those, and that could make a change because the people that you work with on the school committee are not willing to embrace what it is that you're willing to embrace in order to make it so that our girls are protected and the things that and the kids that are.
There's the other issues. The guys are. The transitioning guys
that bugs me too.
Right. So I am definitely opposed to that. I know my opponent supports it.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Oh my God.
He does. March 25. That was his vote. So
he's not to change the subject, but one of the big things that's happening in Rhode Island now is a push to stop the degradation of the constitutional rights. And two of those are property ownership, and the other one is right to bear arms.
Right.
It is a huge push, and I saw that again. He's not a pro 2A guy.
No, he isn't.
He's a gun ban guy.
Yes, he is.
Even though he
voted for
went
it.
through
West
West
Point.
Point
Yeah.
and he was in the military, he was assigned in the military. How does that? I wonder. And he's been there when there have been he's been born. There was Vietnam that he missed it. He could have gone over there, but he didn't. I don't know what that was all about. And then then we move on to in Afghanistan and these other places. You would think he was responsible for supporting those things with his votes to make sure that those things continued. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of his. I don't understand how you go to West Point and then you turn around and you
It's America.
that's do what you want to do, right?
That is, everybody has an opinion, and it's going to be for the greater good at the end of the day, for the society as a whole. This narrative-driven point where we're at today, it's not for society as a whole. It's to change society. It's to make us something that we're not.
But how did that ever happen?
We allowed it to happen because if you were the moral majority or the working class folks, people in this room here, busy raising their families and earning a living, make sure there's a roof over our head, food on the table, not paying attention to the politics in Washington and to the education that was going on in our universities.
I considered the 70s is like the best school systems were going on. Then if you look back and we were like number one, and now Singapore's number one and we're like number 28, and there's a lot of things that have changed. And I'm so happy that I was educated at that time because I thought I got a good education. I had a fairly good career. So, all that goes on. But today,
Part of my frustration with trying to make those changes on the school committee or in my town, and just trying to make positive changes, from what I see as positive changes in the town. One of the hot button issues is the transgender, whether or not men should be in women's sports, and also parental rights. And you put it on social media and it blows up. I put a post on there about please show up to the school committee meeting. We're discussing this.
Oh,
And it had over 3 different pages. It probably had three or 400 comments. And, that did not translate to anybody coming to
attendance.
attendance was 0.
Right.
It was unbelievable. It was 2 people that showed up. One, I think, spoke in support. One spoke against.
Yeah.
And out of a town of 42,000 people, and all the people that were on social media that knew about it and that were passionate about it, and they weren't passionate enough to drive to the school.
So there's the reality of life. Actually, it's not really reality. It's the cloud. Where's the cloud? What's in the cloud? These keyboard warriors are narrative pushers. Do they actually exist? Do they live in your town?
I wonder.
So they obviously do exist because they're hacking away.
Right.
But is their name real? Is what they put down real? And they have a narrative to drive. And that narrative is very important to them. Some of them are paid to push that narrative.
Yeah.
And so,
Sure.
some of them just believe in it. And so they're going to be there. Has nothing to do with them. They may be in California. They may be inside of Washington. They might be in Texas somewhere. Austin. That's the blue part of Texas there, Austin.
Yeah. Austin.
But they may be keyboarding you up in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with them,
Yeah.
but they have an opinion. And they're smoking it up. And they build. And you see this. So now, perception is reality. Perception, if I can perceive it, if I hear it enough, it must be true.
Yep.
Going back to my previous statement about the war in Iran and the comment that was made. And I'm like, the perception was X was said. The reality was, no, it wasn't. And you have to be able to define those, and you've got to do homework. And we as leaders have to do that homework. We've got to educate.
Right.
Part of my campaign is educating the public, besides me being an okay guy to send to Washington.
Better than okay.
Yes, thank you. And I play that down. A lot of people are like, well, you're serious. No, this running the United States Senate is very serious. It is all consuming. It takes my life, my life's on hold. Anybody who runs for office, especially a statewide office, even local offices, if you really doing the job, school committee and everything else, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of resources, whether it's personal, financial, or mental. It just is all encompassing, and it absorbs all of your body and all of your soul. So this, when I come down and say, if I'm a nice guy, by all means, don't ever underestimate the strength and the will I have behind me. So we'll say that, and maybe something was said to me previously that got me on that soapbox there.
No, that's the kind of people that you want. They've got good moral character, that were brought up the correct way, and that can get down there and roll their sleeves up. And you're going to have to convince a lot of other people of things, I guess. I mean, I never understood, not to get into the technical side of it, but the 60 votes in the Senate and the filibuster, and I don't understand that, because I always thought it was 51% and what? You won.
Right.
It's 60 makes it veto proof.
Right. No, it has to do with the United States Senate has rules that they have in place. If you would, I call them gentleman rules. If you would have the nuclear lever, that you abolish those rules and you go to the 50 vote. 50. It was done in 2012, 2013 by Harry Reid.
Really?
The Democrats did it to us. The president, Trump, has called for it. Thune has resisted. And that needs to, we need to pull the nuclear weapon. Understand that the United States of America gave the Republican Party, they didn't give Donald Trump the presidency. They gave the Congress to the Republican Party. Everybody in the United States of America elected Republicans. They want Republicans to do something. This rule that they've done in the Senate that allows the Democrats to play spoiler,
Right.
is not what the American people voted for.
That's what that's
The American people put the Republicans in charge. I was down in Long Lake speaking to a room full of people. Gentleman gets up and says, Ray, 15 years I've been voting Republican. Now you've got Congress, both houses of Congress, lower chamber, upper chamber. You've got the White House. Number one, when are people going to be arrested? Number two, when are you going to pass something?
That's what.
And they're right.
Right.
They're right. I voted for you. You got in. Where's my benefit?
Right.
And Thune, who's in charge of the Senate, needs to pull the trigger and go to 51 votes.
51, right?
51
yeah,
votes.
for sure.
So, again, they say, well, if you do that now, the Democrats can do it to us in the future.
Right.
Well, they've already done it to us in the past.
Right.
Please, man up, grab a set, and make it happen. Do the work the American people hired you for.
Right.
You're a paid employee of the American. You're a senator, but guess what? You're on the government dole.
Right.
The taxpayer's paying you. Do what they paid you to do.
Right. That was the guy when they were holding money back from the from ICE and paying everybody's paychecks and all that kind of stuff. Everybody says Congress should not get paid until those people get paid. I
100% agree.
They should have some sort of a mechanism or trigger in order to get to that spot. But
Yep. That's another bill that I'll pass. I'll submit, not pass.
no, but that's all about like I said, you get to be friendly with this guy. I mean, you work together with this guy and that guy and that guy, and then you might be out and getting to having a beer somebody place else, and you start getting to that guy and that guy and that guy, and then that's the whole thing. So. All right. Well, did we cover everything that we needed to cover? Is there anything that did we leave any stones unturned of things that you might want to chat about, or do we?
Oh, there are tons of things that for the campaign. You take a look at the new northern lights that we've got going on off our coast, and those new northern lights are the windmills with the lights on top. So that's bad. That's bad for the fisheries. It's bad for everything that goes on out there. We're destroying the ecosystems of Cox's Ledge and everything else by the pulverizing that's going on to build these infrastructure down there. Is there a place for solar? Yes, on rooftops. on buildings that are already built. Should we be clear cutting forests? The return on investment, the amount of electricity that we get from those panels do not support clear cutting forests, taking away farm field. Okay, we've got that here in Rhode Island. A lot of the farm fields are being turned over to solar for the extra money that's coming in, government subsidized money. So the farm field goes away. Where is those crops going? Did you move to another place? Did you move those crops, or are they now just gone?
Gone.
These are the biggest things people have got to pay attention to. Clear cutting or destroying farmland, destroying forests. We humans need oxygen. Photosynthesis, something the trees give us, a little oxygen, helps us every once in a while. We need to pay attention to. Do we need to find renewable sources of energy? Do we have to be good to our planet? The answer is yes.
Yes.
What we need to do is reinvest in nuclear power. And
I've heard a lot of that recently.
we, the United States of America, turned on our first nuclear power plant July 31st of 2024, in Atlanta, Georgia, for the first time in 4 decades. 4
They pushed them
decades.
down.
In France, our friends in France, 65% of their electricity is nuclear power.
So my
We need to go back there.
girlfriend, who is all knowing, all powerful, knowledgeable about everything, was telling me, but a little, not quite as old as I am, was telling me about this nuclear power plant that just went back online in Pennsylvania, and she's like, it's an island or something. Like, I said, what? It's a private company rebooted an island in Pennsylvania. I'm like, not 3 Mile Island. They had a meltdown, but only one of the reactors had the meltdown. It was contained. She's like, I don't know, but it was for AI. AI was a private company that needed to power the AI. Looked it up. Sure enough, 3 Mile Island. Back online by a private company. So old. Yeah, but I mean, if they do it,
Companies, all the power companies are private companies.
yeah.
They have to be certified by the United States federal government
Yeah.
and everything else. The biggest thing with AI is the power draw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard.
So Microsoft, they had an article out a little while ago, had applied for their own nuclear power station.
Did they?
Because they
They're
realized
going to need that kind
how
of
much. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, and they're getting fast tracked because they don't want to fall behind China. So the approvals for those power plants are getting fast tracked, and a lot of them are nuclear because it's the cheapest and the most power you can get.
It's
clean.
somewhat cheap. It's definitely clean. It's definitely renewable. The fuel from nuclear power plants in today's plants can be reused. So there's not this where we're going to bury all this dead stuff. Yeah, that's reusable. Nuclear power is not cheap to build the plant. Ground zero, you're talking $2 to $3 billion. So they're not cheap, but they last forever.
Right.
Built the right way, they will last a good long time. And they take up very little space. They don't kill sea creatures. They don't kill birds. They don't kill the American eagle. They don't take up farmland. They don't take down trees. And they're renewable. That's where our focus should be. There will be some other technologies as they come on with water and everything else. That's a little far away. Right now, today, we need to be reinvesting in nuclear. This fact that we've invested so much money with this green initiative has been for power players, power brokers, people who know people in government to get money. There is nothing else to say about that. Everybody says, no, it's this. Oh, it's this. Stop it. The reality is be a grown up, own it. Speak the truth. And that's what it is. And when I go down there, I'll speak the truth.
Here we go.
For better or worse.
For better. All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you very much. Jason, I always at this time ask you to do the like and subscribe thing. Like, I don't know, you're much better at that than I am. Do you mind repeating everybody?
So we have we get a lot of throughput on our social media. A lot of likes, a lot of hits, a lot of comments. We lost our YouTube, and we are not recouping the YouTube subscribers, so we're going to make a push to try to recoup those. So if you can, if you're listening to this or watching this on Facebook, I know a lot of people watch it on Facebook, Instagram. There's a link to our YouTube. If you're getting the notifications through those two platforms, just hit the subscribe button. Turn off the alerts if you don't want to get the alerts if you're getting them on Facebook or Instagram. But just hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Clear Signal Productions is our producer. So when you watch it and you see the way that some of the different images are cut in and some of the different videos, and you see the closed captioning, that's all our production companies. So if you're doing something like this and you want to talk to somebody, call Clear Signal Productions. You can find them just with a quick
AJ, our boy AJ.
And here's the other thing, we are a local podcast, and we're trying to make some changes locally. Rhode Island is our,
Nationally?
nationally,
By the way, McKay4Senate.com.
We're going to come back to this.
McKay for Senate. But if you are watching this and you agree with what's going on, share it to your local town, Facebook or Instagram or social media or X or wherever you get your information. Share it, because that's how we grow as a movement. Because we're trying to be a common sense force for Rhode Island, and we're building, but we're building one candidate at a time, one town at a time, one human interest story at a time. So we can't do that without people sharing.
So I loved your website, which is one of the things I fell in love with. I got a hold of you in the very beginning, like 6 months ago. I think I've been chasing you for 6 months to get you on this show.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how people can learn more about you if they want to go to the computer and what they can find, and tell them the name of the places and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, by all means. And you'll probably like the website more because we just
redid it.
We just redid the website. So the website is McKay4FOR Senate, McKayFOR Senate.com. I'm also on X. We're also on Instagram, and various other LinkedIn, several others. So that's the way you can find us. By all means, look us up. Sign up to be a volunteer. You have so much power as a citizen. You really do. Sign up and volunteer for good candidates. Make it happen. You hold the power to win the tide, to win the elections. Get involved with good people. Get involved with me. Get involved with our people running for the governor, for the lieutenant governor, and down to your school committee. We all need your help. And at the end of the day, you're not helping us. You're helping yourself. Because we are representing you while you're busy taking care of your family, while you're busy earning a living. We're on the front lines taking care of you.
On that note, with my goose pimples, I want to thank you very much for coming. I did. I'm getting them. I can't take it. So thanks very much for coming. All right. That'll do her. That's a wrap, as Brad would say. Did you get them too?
Yes.